Hello, and welcome back to Have You Seen with Nick and Lance. So this month it's my turn, and I decided to pick Rings for no real reason other than I like talking about Samara and Sudoku and Kayako and all that stuff. So we're back, and this movie was I picked up when we went, like last March when we watched Ringu versus Rings. I got a I went to Google Play and I'm like, I'll just buy the movie since I didn't own the Ring. And there was a nice little digital pack with 3 movies for like $20. And Rings was in there, and I'm like, what the fuck is Rings? I'd never even heard of this one. So it ended up being a bulk purchase and a thing I'd never even heard about. So around that time, like after we did our review, I went back and watched like Ring 2, The Ring 2, Rings. I watched Ringu 2, and I watched Ring 0. So I've caught up a little bit. I think I even put a comment in there giving like quick scores for a few of them. So spoiler alert to people who pay attention to my comments that are rare, but they do occur.
7 days.
Are you just waiting for me to pause so you can say that?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Ring Zero, is that like the Coke Zero of the Ring movies?
Ring 0 is Sadako's backstory before she died. And don't worry, you'll see it someday.
Oh shit. Okay. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's not next or anything like that, but at some point in time when I feel like talking about Ring again, it's going to be like, hey Lance, have you seen Ring 0? And then I'll come over and watch that one too, because that is another one I own digitally, and I'll probably get to cast from my phone.
So wait a minute. We get one video that's Blood Rain, and it gets a lot of watches. Mm-hmm. And now you're just opening up the pain gates.
Hey, I've seen all of these movies, and I am willing to watch them again. So that tells you that I'm willing to watch it again.
That doesn't tell me much, because you watched Blood Rain quite a few times.
Yes, but Blood Rain is funny.
Like a funny ouch.
Yeah.
It's not funny haha, it's funny ouch.
It's like when you watch your friend trip and you know they're fine. Like after they're fine, then it's okay to laugh.
Okay. There's a little Schadenfreude there, but okay.
It's if they're injured, that sucks. Like I can't watch like people actually get injured, but if you watch like someone trip and they're like, no, I tripped, and they're fine, then it's like, you little dipshit.
Buddy, are you okay? Are you fine? Are you? Oh, you busted your ass.
Then it's fine.
I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Yeah, okay. I can agree with that assessment.
So you will notice that we went from The Ring to skipped right over The Ring 2 and went to Rings.
You didn't notice that shit.
No, that's kind of why I did it. The Ring 2 is fine. It's not awful. There's some neat stuff in it, but ultimately adds
Nothing.
nothing of particular interest.
Okay. Well,
And if you were to go back and watch it, I mean, it's fine.
I think the funny part about it is that I've seen Ring, and I've seen Ringu, and then I thought that was the only ones I'd seen, other than the fucking Kayako versus Sadako.
Yeah.
But when we were talking tonight, when you were like, you didn't miss anything on the second movie.
Yeah, and I kind of filled you in on like a plot detail or whatever.
Yeah, and you gave me like the smallest of plot details, and I was like, did this also happen? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, I think I've seen that movie.
So oddly enough, I'm like, when I bought the 3-pack, I'm like, oh, I've only seen The Ring. And then I was sitting there watching The Ring 2, and like midway through the movie, I'm like, I've seen this movie. And it just kind of left the brain afterwards. So it's not bad. It just doesn't stick with you per se.
There was a reason that pack was $20.
Yeah, I got one good movie. And maybe more.
It's like buying a DVD back in the day. 2 good songs and 8 crappy ones. So, I mean,
Well, I guess before we start getting about that, I mean, we might as well ask, hey, Lance, what'd you think of Rings? If you were to give it a score.
it sucks. No, wait, that's a different one.
Yeah.
I would give this movie a 5.
I rounded up,
Okay.
unfortunately for me. Because I'm like, you might give it a 5, but you might be generous and round it up to a 6.
It's a total middle of the roader for me. We'll get into more of that later.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick.
Yes.
What did you give this movie?
I would give it a 6.
A 6?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I went way high because I know you really love Samara or Sadako.
I like Sadako.
I know you like Sadako, but like it's still within the same genre and
I think
everything like
even
that.
even like a Ringu, I only gave like a 7. And
Really?
in The Ring, I think I gave a 6 because it's a little bit better than average. And I think this one is a little better than average because there's some neat stuff in it, which we can probably start getting into. So track it down if you can. I mean, you could buy it and The Ring probably for like $20.
If you go into Walmart right now and you find the bargain bin, which they still have, by the way, because
That's
last
good.
time I went through, which we have another idea for a movie series, so stay tuned for that.
With how much you liked Blood Rain.
Well, okay,
Oh.
so I knew that was bad.
Yes.
I knew that movie was bad because I knew it was Yui Bowl. The idea that I posed to Nick was that we do a series called Dumpster Diving, where we'd go to Walmart, just stick our hand into the cheap DVDs, and whatever we pull out is what we buy for like $3 to $5.
Yeah.
And then we watch that together, and then we review it. It's sure to be painful. Sure to be painful, since like one of the ones I saw when I walked by it today, I just peeked in there, and one of them was that Mark Wahlberg overly aggressive boyfriend movie.
No, I don't think I
can't-
know that one.
It looks bad.
Okay.
There's a reason it's in that.
But hey,
bin.
if we pulled it out, I get to do my Mark Wahlberg impression again.
Hey, I heard my girlfriend's in there. Don't make me come in there and fucking kill you. No, okay, we're watching that movie then.
Okay. So that was plenty of time to pause and turn away if you don't want spoilers.
Yeah.
But you like he said, I mean, you could probably find it bargain bin somewhere. I got it in a 3-pack digitally for like $20 off the Google Play Store. Which, if you buy something on the Google Play Store, you can watch it on your YouTube channel.
There you go.
Sometimes I've noticed that if I buy it on YouTube, it's $2. But if I buy it on Google Play, it's $18, and it still plays on YouTube.
Nice. Okay. Well, tip from your Uncle Nick.
Yep. Okay.
Buy bad movies and you get them in 2 places.
I don't think 5's a bad movie.
I'm playing.
So, Rings it's okay. There's stuff in it that's interesting. Like the overall, I mean, like when you first start, when we were watching it, you're like, man, this is kind of paint by numbers. And I bet he walks in and goes, oh no. But I think it's off of your theory. I think it twisted it enough that I don't know that you saw where it was going.
For the most part, like, so I thought that it was going to be you're Samara's twin.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to happen. Kind of went in that direction.
Yeah.
Not really what I thought,
Yeah,
but
it's more of like you're going to be Samara's new vessel.
But I guess the problem I have with like scary movies, like you keep it simple. And the fact that it was like she took a burn from a handle that wrote in Braille on her hand. And I was just kind of like, okay, that's a bit much, you know.
Yeah.
But you have to have that dun 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 moment. So
Yeah. For him to very slowly type in the Braille thing, like,
hey,
and then okay, that's an R. Then I click this little dot. Okay, it's like, dude, hurry up.
to be fair, I still type like that on a keyboard. And
Okay,
I've been
let's see.
yeah.
But he's a college student, and you're old as shit.
Well, I'm a college. Okay. All right. Stop the recording. Yes, I'm old.
Yes.
But I also work in IT, and I've been doing it for some time, so I should be better. Now, when I don't have to. Technically, I could probably look at the screen and type at this point.
Yeah.
Because when I look at the keys, I can whirl through but for some reason, I still have to look at the keyboard.
I never did the home position typing like I probably should have. So I memorized the hunt and peck method for the most part.
Yeah, I can.
Whereas I can still kind of like type
Well, it's.
what I want, but it's
I wanted to buy the Mario. There's a Mario program where you like type.
Mario teaches typing.
It's something like that. And then there was another one that was like Spelling of the Dead or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to pick those up because I would imagine they don't cost that much. But like, I can't, I don't know. I'm just not comfortable with that home like setting and everything like that. I know what the divots are on the keyboard and I know what it's supposed to mean. But for some reason, if I just unfocus on the keyboard and kind of stare at it, I can type something out really fucking fast. And then all the time I saved doing it that method is wasted with me going back and doing typos.
Yes.
So,
I've also gotten more used to typing on my iPad too, and the iPad like takes care of most of the typos for me.
there you go.
It's only when I really spell a word bad in my random hunt and peck method that it's like, we don't know what the fuck this is.
Even the iPad's like, no.
Okay, well, let me highlight it and actually type it and pay attention.
And let me put it in Google, and Google goes, no.
Well, then there's also the go back and the iPad. It's like, that's not a word. I'm like, no, that is a word. That's just, I'm a dumbass gamer and I like my gamer words. Like role playing, that's 2 words. I'm like, stop it. Role playing is 1 word.
Yeah.
Stop correcting me, iPad.
iPad's wrong.
Yes.
iPad's wrong. Okay, so getting back to the...
Yes.
All right, so this movie has a bunch of people I've never heard of. So Julia is Matilda and Ingrid Lutz. Calm down. Or there are other actresses named Matilda and Ingrid. She had to stick on Lutz, or she got married. Like, all 4. Bam, 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 bam. Alex Rowe is Holt. He looks familiar. Johnny Galecki,
Yep.
Leonard, is...
Yeah, from Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, he's Gabriel. Then you have the fucking Kingpin,
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio as Burke.
Honestly, that's one of the reasons I showed you this movie.
Really?
Because Vincent D'Onofrio was in it as a blind man, and I'm like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, he's cosplaying as Daredevil in this movie. Yeah. You're not Stick. Stop it.
Yeah, he was beating people with a stick.
Oh yeah, no. That's why I think that's what was so funny to me is like he reminded me of the Charlie Cox Daredevil, the guy who was Stick, who taught him how to fight blind, and I was like, okay, it's apparently he's just doing like a Baby's Day Out version of fucking Daredevil.
There was a movie I never seen, but it was like the kids break into a blind man's house and he like turns off all the light. And
I was gonna mention that, like when he turned off all the lights in the house, and because
is it called like Breathe or Breath or something like that? I've not seen it.
I can't remember. So if I look up Avatar, the guy who was the blind guy was the general in Avatar. So
I'm sure if you looked up like a blind man horror movie, it would come up too.
well, I'm just gonna do it the stupid way.
No.
I'm gonna do the 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon way.
Oh,
So
the guy with the scarred blind man was
Stephen
the scarred man in Avatar.
don't breathe.
Don't breathe. Don't breathe. That was close.
It's a 7.1, so maybe it's not that bad.
I've heard it was okay, and then they made sequels that were less good. I've just not gone back to watch it myself.
Sequels are always lazy and people hate them.
I mean, depending.
Well, I mean, there are a few exceptions, but and there's no one really else of.
No, I thought I recognized
no.
the one that ran the bed and breakfast, but I didn't. Like I went back to look through her thing, and there was nothing there.
Meh.
For the most part, it's a small cast.
So what I thought was funny about the movie, so I couldn't find it. Nick brought it over on his phone, the digital
just
version,
Cast it right to the TV.
and for some reason, when Nick comes over to watch movies, we can't help but fucking rip on it the entire time. So
That's how you watch movies.
So this movie to me was The Ring mixed with Final Destination
Yeah, a little bit.
because there was some Final Destination-y
It's
shit
just kind
in
of
there.
like where I saw this thing set up, and it's going to would potentially lead to some weird death that you happen to walk yourself into.
Because they did it twice in this movie, which I was just kind of like meh. It did do some neat things with like the TV falling on the ground.
So I think that's why I kind of enjoy this movie. Is like she's goes up and Samara's going to come through the computer screen, so you spike your laptop on the ground and break it. She's like, fine, I'll come through this TV that you've got covered from your tarp because you painted a ring on the ceiling. And she's like, I'm just going to pull everything out and slap it on the ground like, hey, I beat you, bitch.
Yeah.
So then she just kind of like pushes the TV and like crawls out from underneath it.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. She like spikes the laptop. She's like, I beat you, bitch. And Samar's like, ooh, ooh. So I'm going to come on your TV that's like, so I'm going to, instead of just going and tilting the TV on the wall, I've got to pull the fucking staples and cable off the thing to pull the TV down. And then like the TV gets pushed up. That part was neat. It was funny when she walked up to the girl's like, she's locked in the bathroom. She can hear the other girl getting murdered in the other room. And then Samara kills the girl in the other room, then walks up to the door and like tries to open it. And I made the comment, I was like, still got a murder boner out here. Could you open the door? And so the girl opens the door to leave the bathroom and sees
Oh, it's Samara opened the door.
yeah, Samara opens the door, and Nick was like, "Look what I did."
Yeah, it's just imagine like like when a child or someone does something bad, and then they just gotta stand in front of you like, look, I did this shit.
Behold, behold my works.
Or for pet owners who come home and the dog is like torn up a cushion, and they walk in and they're just like proud of it, like, what? I killed the cushion.
Someone shit in the hall. Oh wait. Oh, we're past 15 minutes. I could say shit. It's okay.
Thanks, YouTube.
Yeah, thanks, YouTube. You're gonna kill a lot of great content this way. Anyways, yeah, the movie was entertaining enough. I didn't hate it. I still think the Samara thing's getting. I don't know. I find Samara boring.
Yeah.
The storyline. I think they were trying to make it a little fresher because the whole twisty twist of the movie is that this girl is the rebirth of Samara, so now she's not a spirit anymore. She's living, breathing person on the planet now. So,
And you learn the important lesson of stop fucking helping Samara.
yeah,
And the first one, she goes and finds her bones, and it's like, look, I did everything for you, and she murders anyway. It's like, no, it's because you made a copy. That's the only reason.
yeah.
And it's like the turn in the first one when the son is like, yeah, you don't help her.
Yeah.
So in this movie, they're like, okay, well, we found her bones and we cremated them, so now she's free. It's like, no, don't free Samara. Stop that.
Yeah. And like the guy that was supposed to be the bad guy is he's telling her the entire time, you're not doing what you think you're doing. You're not saving her soul. This thing's got to stay.
Yeah, she's evil.
Yeah, she's fucking evil. And then they fucking killed him for him trying to stop it.
Well, Samara killed him.
Well, I mean, still.
Yeah, but I mean, he also, it's presumed that he murdered all the people because he said you're the 12th. So he probably killed 11 people that came trying to free Samara.
Well, he said I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Maybe not. You're the one that came the furthest, so maybe the rest of them died beforehand.
Or they at least got to him, and he was just like, and then they fucked off.
Yeah, but he's been trying to subvert people from discovering this for enough. Maybe he's hurt people before, because I mean, he kind of went over that thing and wrapped up his fist, pretty like, time to beat down.
The other thing I'm wondering is, like, how come all the college kids? All right, so the short version of the story is someone watches the tape and then they die, and then their shit gets sold off in a garage sale, and the tape was stuck in the VCR of the dead person. This guy buys it, watches the tape, and he's a college professor.
Yeah.
So he
he's
writes.
Also, he's also a scientist, so kind of like that. Here's proof of life after death.
Right, but like it was the most heavy-handed way to do that. Where it's like I wrote my big dissertation on this spirit energy to the point where you walk in the lab that they have all the pictures, all the screwy pictures, and it looked like a fucking nightclub.
Yeah, kind of.
With like the pictures plastered on the wall and the fucking timers.
People sitting around like drinking and shit.
Yeah, it looked like
hanging out or whatever.
It looked like a nightclub, and I was just kind of like, okay. This has got to be the freakiest fucking nightclub I've ever seen in my life, because it seems like they're celebrating this fucking entity to the point where if you go up to a floor that's locked, it's got a fucking tape that I guess you watch the tape up there because it's got the camera of you. Like that's where they go to make the recordings.
Maybe. It could just be something wheeled out into the hall or something like that too, or it's trying to log people who come up to the floor so they know who's there and try to. Because you imagine like you've got in here something that could end the world. Because it's essentially a virus.
Sure.
So you make sure, like, put a thing there and record people in the elevator. You lock the elevator to make sure no one just kind of walks up and be like, "Oh, I found the virus that'll kill humanity."
I guess, but it's like,
I don't know. It's weird.
I mean, so if I'm being 100% honest, for like 10 minutes after that part, my mind was just like, "What the fuck was that setup?"
Yeah.
Because it's like TV with camera taped to the top of it, and the TV is showing what the camera's taping. So my thought was, because it looked like it was on a old school TV fucking cart that you roll around.
Yeah, that you'd roll into like school back in the day or whatever.
Yeah, and it looked like it had a little VCR underneath. So I'm wondering if fucking Leonard Hofstadter was like, go in there, push play on the fucking VCR, and then record your reactions. So it's like a We Watch fucking 7-day murder exercise video.
I mean, which could be too. Maybe he's recording what it looks like when people watch it, just to kind of. He's studying.
Yeah, but it's like the vibe they gave it, where it was like everything seems so cool and
Yeah,
hip
it was like
and-
we're the cool kids. We're up here getting drunk and talking about life after death.
yeah,
It's weird.
yeah, it was fucking weird, and like, I don't know, that part was just kind of unsettling, but but not in a good scary movie kind of way.
Yeah, sure, that's just off. It just gives a weird vibe to it that I don't know is there.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
they kind of set him up as like the cool professor. It's like, man, this guy's like banging students and like hanging out and has this weird thesis about life after death and all this weird stuff. And then like he sees guys dies and he's like, man, it's okay, whatever. And that net plot like never comes up again.
yeah, it's I don't know. When you have something like this that has a well-established storyline, it's kind of hard to rework it or to add to it. But it's like,
And I think they did an interesting way to try to like make it different. Because I mean, what do you do? Just someone watches the tape again and tries to explore it. They at least like in You're Different, Samar injected a new message into the old tape, and then when you pull all that shit out, it's a new tape.
yeah. But I mean, I'm gonna be mad if the next movie isn't like a guy out in Nome, Alaska, that watches the tape and then the phone rings, and he's like, "Hello," and she's like, "Where are you?" And he's like, "Who is this? What's your address?" It's this. Okay, I'm in Kansas right now. 17 days, 3 hours, and 42 minutes.
No, Samar doesn't care. She got on that plane.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, from where she was to where he was, it's not 7 days. It's like 18 days, 3 hours, and 46 seconds.
She'll get there. She's quick.
She's a person now, though.
Oh, now
She's now bound to, like, cars and shit.
Who knows?
I'm just saying, like, she is flesh and blood. She's not a spirit that could just crawl at your TV. But it's like now you watch the tape, 18 days, 46 minutes, and 32 seconds goes by, and then, like, the lights go off, and you're like, and then the TV comes on, and you see the well, and you're just like, and then she steps up from behind the TV, and she's like, can't go through the TV anymore.
You never know. I kind of hope they do something else with it, but I doubt that they will. Which brings me to something you usually do, but I'm going to do this time.
Oh,
Is
a little shoe on the other foot. I'm glad I didn't pull it up now.
I know that's why I brought it up now. I'm going to go to IMDb.
Okay.
And I know you had IMDb up, but I don't know that you looked at the.
I didn't even look.
It didn't seem like you were looking at the score.
No.
So, what do you think IMDb gave Rings?
Is this the
The
0.0 kind of a thing?
It's a point number.
I'm going to say 5.3.
4.5.
Okay, not bad.
That's within a point.
Not bad.
So I go over to Rotten Tomatoes. What do you think the critics gave Rings?
37.
8.
8.
8.
They hated this shit. Okay.
What do you think the audience gave Rings?
25.
Real close, 23.
Ooh, okay. So
And I think that's wrong. Was this movie 8 fucking percent?
it's critics. It's you. I don't ever trust anything the fucking
And
critics
even the
say.
audience, 23%. Well, the Metacritic score is very close to the IMDb score. It's actually 25. But I think that I don't know if people have seen movies. This movie's not a 2.5. It's
Yeah.
nothing special. So I get like the 4.5, 5-ish like region for it. I mean, it's fine. It's a whatever movie.
So-
But 2?
Yeah, no. You said this
You guys
was
know Uwe Boll makes movies, right?
right, and yeah, and I'm sure that they score those higher because those movies are fucking. You have people like a person we know who likes terrible movies.
It's the people who watch terrible movies and they're like, this movie's great. It's not.
Yeah, no, it's great, haha, but it's not great as in just good content. But
I think we went over this when we talked about Blood Rain, but like his movies are still pretty low.
yeah, no, everything he makes is fucking terrible.
Yeah, 2.9 for Blood Rain.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, I think that's the right number.
Yeah, that's what that movie needed.
Yes, it's not a 1, it's not a 0, it's not that bad. It's just it's just not very good.
That movie was shot on a Nokia phone.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That's it. That dude is like the equivalent of fucking Ed Wood. He's Mr. One Shot and we got it. Moving on.
But Rings at 8%. I'm like, nah, it's not. It's nothing special. But you guys are like, you watch movies for a living, right?
Yeah, but it's critics. Like critics. I remember. So there's a movie way back in the day called Chocolate.
Or Chocolat.
Or Chocolat. But like that movie was like super high rated. And I could not figure out what the fuck they were watching because that movie was not great.
It's not like artsy fartsy, kind of like romance.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like, that's when I learned, whenever that movie came out is when I learned you can't trust what the critics say. Because the other thing that was really eye-opening to me is somebody did an expose about the award shows. Oscars and shit like that.
Yeah.
And you find out that of all the nominations, you have like these 5 or 6 movies that are nominated, and then you find out that the studio who like took these fucking judges to like lunches and like did all these little things
it's
for
all,
them.
all politics or whatever.
Yeah, and it's not even about what you truly like. It's just about, favors.
And like, it's this guy's turn or something.
Yeah, or something.
This guy's done like a lot for the thing, and he's done a lot for me. Give me a lot of money.
Yeah, like the one I can't remember what it was, but there was like some show that Amber and I watched that we thought should have really been a contender this year, and because it's late and my brain doesn't work anymore, I can't remember what it was, but like when the Oscars went through this last time, I remember asking her, I was like, did this win any awards? And she's like, oh, it was nominated, but like it didn't win anything. Which to me is it's travesty.
Well, last year Arcane wasn't even nominated for anything, not even like best animated.
And it's fucking awesome.
It's one of the best shows ever.
Yeah, it's like I don't get it. And the other thing with like the critic or not the critics but the audiences is people just like to not like things these days. And I get it. When the pandemic started, one of the movies that we got was it was some animated movie that came out, and people were just like, "Oh, it was the Trolls movie."
Oh, okay.
And it was like one of the first movies where it was like supposed to be released in the theaters, but then they released it on video, and people were like, "This is what we get," and it was like, you non-creating nothing, fucking take what you're offered. You're stuck in your house. You're not doing anything, and you're going to complain.
Or just don't watch it.
Yeah,
like if you look at it and like Trolls, be like, oh, I don't want to watch Trolls.
Yeah,
don't watch it.
Do you have kids? That movie was a fucking godsend for people who had kids. I didn't have a kid at that time. Amber was pregnant, but we didn't have kids at that time. But like locked up in your house with a kid who's being homeschooled.
Just give him a weird little movie watch.
That was a 2-hour fucking reprieve for a lot of motherfuckers out there. So like the one person was like, "God, this is what we get." It's like literally, fuck you. That movie was manna from fucking heaven for a lot of parents. But then like they put out Sing 2. Jack loves Sing.
Okay.
And I'll go ahead and say it. Sing and Sing 2. I love the movies too. I think they're good.
I've never seen them.
Singing animals doing.
Oh yeah. I'm familiar.
Yeah.
I'm not interested.
No, there's no reason you should be.
Yeah.
But
as for throwing up for a kid or whatever, like you need something just to watch as a family or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, you just made my point that I was making is that a lot of people were like,
thinking like high cinema when really it's a family movie to sit around on the couch with your family.
Yeah, well, someone did a review and said, why does this movie exist? This movie didn't need to exist. It doesn't add anything to the first storyline. I'm like, motherfucker, this wasn't Citizen Kane. It's the continuing adventures of fucking cartoon animals who like to sing. Like, the internet has ruined a lot of things these days. Like, everyone believes that their opinion is important. And I know that's kind of ironic for two motherfuckers sitting here telling you about their opinions of movies.
I think what I find useful personally in reviews is you find people who like movies that you have liked. And that's kind of why we're doing this whole little scoring system and trying to be as honest as possible. Is so that people watch it and kind of go, well, they've met my opinion on a lot of movies, so when this person gives something an 8, maybe it's worth my time to watch, or my money in several cases.
Well, you introduced me to Jeremy Jahns.
Yes.
And he used to have, like, whenever I would watch his reviews, I used to match up with a lot of stuff he said.
Yeah, same here.
After the pandemic, though, I haven't been agreeing with him as much, but I think it's because when we started watching him back in the day, he was like you and I watching things. And now I believe
Now it's just a job or whatever.
it's not only is it a job, but I think it's also he's got more expectations from stuff that he watches.
I wonder if it's, you see so many movies that when you watch something like Rings and maybe it's not doing anything particularly original for you, so you're like, nah, whatever.
Yeah,
Like just another unoriginal movie that's paint by numbers, boring.
I think you hit it. I think I didn't quite get to that, but I think you hit it on the head. You've watched so much now where it's like you give no quarter to certain things. And like it's certain things will hit you the wrong way right out the gate, and you're just like, I don't want to fucking watch this. Because there was some things that I really enjoyed that I went back and watched his review, and he was picking on certain things where I was just like, you know, this ruined that for you. And I don't, if by some weird stroke of luck, Jeremy Johns, you watch this video, I still love you. I still watch your video every single week. I think you're a great critic. My wife really wants you to cut your hair. But
Pandemic's over.
yeah, pandemic's over. Cut that hair. Just tuck it in your shirt. You're fine. Oh yeah, and then
I had this before the pandemic.
and I'm rocking the gray fro right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I think people just get jaded, and I think we're also in a time period where people just like to not like things.
I mean, also during the pandemic was the time to feel jaded too. When you're stuck up in your house watching movies on your own TV, when you maybe used to going to the theater and enjoying them with other people, now you're in here all by yourself watching something that is not worth watching all by yourself.
Yeah, it's stress and angst, and you know, people. It feels good to complain. Pete Holmes told a joke the other day that I could not stop laughing at, where he was like, if there was a thing like hell, we would be aware it was hell if you couldn't complain. So it's like you go and spend the day in the gargling lava diarrhea pits, and then you get to hang out by the water fountain for like 2 minutes to go, this job really sucks. And it's like the fact that you get to complain makes it a little worthwhile, but if they took that ability away from you, then it's truly hell.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to commiserate a little bit.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we do here sometimes too. I mean, I know most of my Star Wars talks are about, man, this shit sucks now. And I don't know. It's just sometimes you want to be heard.
There's nothing wrong with that, but it's like I don't understand why people jump on these fucking bandwagons of the people that say it the loudest seem to be the ones that get.
I guess.
Like episode 7 is not a horrible movie. It's not a good movie. It's not original by any stretch of the imaginations, and it's so paint by numbers where it was just boring.
Yeah.
And I remember having to like defend my, you know, like I remember when they.
Oh yeah, when it came up, people were like, "Just wait and see the other ones." And I think you and I were the only ones in our little group that like this movie's awful.
Well, it's like
just because it's nothing special.
My exact quote when we got out of that movie was, "What'd you think?" And I said I liked it better when it was episode 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
And they were just like, "What the fuck do you mean?" And I was like, "This scene was this scene. This scene was this scene." I didn't like that, you know, she didn't know shit about herself, and by the end of the movie, she's like, "Give me the gun, lightsabers," and you know, like, I like to see people grow into it. And then someone was like, "Well, Luke Skywalker was fucking instantly amazing." No, he wasn't.
No.
He wasn't good until fucking Return of the Jedi, and that's when he was confident. Rey was confident by the end of the fucking first movie.
Yeah.
So, which, fine.
Yeah, it's just you fit the journey in one movie.
Yeah.
And it's the same journey you just watched, and I think that's why I don't like 7 is it's the other movies.
Well, it infers that Rey is more powerful than Luke, but Luke is supposed to be like the second most powerful Jedi ever born. Like, at least that's the way they paint it.
And that's not that case anymore.
Yeah, like, well, I think George Lucas tried to give like a fucking it's over 9,000 fucking scale when he introduced the midichlorians and be like, this guy's got like 7 million midichlorians, and then people were like, boo. So now it's kind of like you have to do like comparisons like he's as powerful as blah.
Yeah.
You know,
You kind of. I guess I'll try to explain where things come from, and people are like, "Stop explaining where things come from." You're like, "Okay, well, I had some plans for that, but let me just put that in the bin."
yeah.
It's kind of like you put out Jar Jar and like Jar Jar, and people complain about him, and I'm like, all right, let me just put him in the bin.
Let me put him in the Senate and have him completely wreck everything. You know what? I was on that fucking I hate Jar Jar train for the longest time, and somebody was literally like, "It's not for you.
It's just a kid.
It's not for you anymore. This is for your kids." And like, I remember somebody told me, they were like, "You hate Jar Jar. One day you're going to show these Star Wars movies to him, and you're going to have to show him this movie, and your kid is going to fucking love him, and you're going to be like, that's not my son." And you know what? They're fucking right.
Yep. Including the disowning part.
Yes. He'll watch it at his grandma's. No kidding. But like, I guess the point I'm trying to make is the seventh movie was just fine. And it laid groundwork.
Yeah. But then kind of like, I mean, I've mentioned before how you bring your own baggage to movies. And I enjoy some movies that are ostensibly like maybe not good. Like The Grudge being a 10 for me, and like Josie and the Pussycats being a 10 for me. Those aren't good movies, but they've imprinted on me and they've left an impression, and they're kind of like important to me as a person. And therefore, I mean, what else is a 10 for? Not just saying, this movie's good and you guys are bitching, here's a 10. I didn't really like this movie and it has some things I don't like. 1. It's like, no, be fair.
Yeah.
At least grade a little bit.
Yeah. Like,
and I think Rings is right in the middle.
Yeah, and I think that's
fine.
I gave it a 5. Like, I knew you liked Sadako.
Yes.
Which is basically Samara.
Sadako's better than Samara, but yes.
Sure. And I know you're planning on doing your next character as a fucking poltergeisty girl that like stares at people. And it's gonna be terrible.
No, she's gonna be.
It's gonna fucking suck. You're not gonna talk. You're just gonna walk around and be like at fucking people and make their heads explode. It's gonna be horrible.
No, I've got an idea. I know how to play. It's gonna be great.
And then we might not be doing it in 5th ed. Apparently,
that'll be well.
We'll debate that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sorry, let's get back on track.
Yeah.
And I just want to clarify one thing. I don't have a problem with female characters. I never have. One of my favorite characters of all time is fucking Ripley from the Alien series. She's fucking awesome.
It's when you watch characters not struggle, it makes them less compelling.
Well, yeah. It's like I like to see people grow into things. I don't like to see people just be like, I know kung fu. You know, like I don't like them to just. I don't know. I want to see the hero's journey, and that movie took a big shortcut.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that really killed me is that you have established characters that people love, and then like when she gets on the Millennium Falcon and flies it, then Han finds the ship, and he's like, someone's like, fuck this ship all up, and then she's like pulling parts off, and she's like, hey, I just made it faster.
Yeah, I fixed your ship for you.
Yeah, it's like, this is his ship. And then Amber pointed out, well, they've added stuff, and it's like, it doesn't matter. I can throw fenders and a fucking spoiler on a Nissan Sentra. If I've been driving that car my entire life, I'd be able to look at it and be like, this is wrong, this is wrong. I turn the engine on and be like, this doesn't sound right.
But I guess the counterpoint is that Han never knew how the fuck to fix that ship.
That was Chewie.
Well, when they were in the worm, like in Empire, and it took them a long time to fix that shit. They didn't know what the fuck was wrong with it.
That's true. But I mean, so I'll counterpoint.
But it's taking away from an established character to kind of show how amazing and super and perfect this new character is.
They really
and it just makes it not as interesting.
Well, they really wanted her to be super likable, and that's fine. I think Daisy Ridley is adorable, and I think she's a really good actress. Those movies did not kill her for me.
No.
But like I think that they did John
Boyega
dirty.
John Boyega was great, and I would have liked to see more of him, but the movies didn't do good to Finn. And that's not the actor's fault.
They kept showing him on the posters holding a fucking lightsaber.
Well, they showed him front and center, like he's going to be an important character, and then in the sequels, they're just kind of like, well, it's just now he just yells Rey.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a 50-50, which I thought it would have been great. You would have had double representation, black male and female. It would have been double representation. It was a fucking layup for like, social issues movie.
Yeah.
And I was fine with it. And then, I don't know, like the part that really killed me was, you're going to untie me and you're going to give me that blaster. I'm going to make those binds tighter. You're going to untie me and give me that blaster. I'm going to untie you and give you that blaster. It was like, okay, I get it. You're dope. But we're not talking about Star Wars. I'm sorry.
That's a long talk for Star Wars.
It's still a bone of contention for me. I'm sorry. And I know we've probably covered something like this in another video.
Yes.
The long and the short of this movie is...
Don't trust the critics.
Yeah, don't trust the critics. I think ultimately, I feel like a lot of the writing was lazy in this one.
It's a little bit. It's not a great movie, but it had stuff in it that I think is neat. Like I would have liked to see more of the airplane scene, but I mean that was just kind of like the stinger. You don't want to show away too much. But I like the thought of you watch a video and you're on a plane, and then the plane crashes because she blows up all the instruments when she crawls out of it with all the water leaking in. And
See, I thought that was weak.
that was neat.
I'll be honest
I
with
think
you.
it could have been interesting.
Well, I mean, I thought it was weak only for the fact of, because I was joking when I was like, is she such a petty bitch? She's going to take down the plane to get the one guy.
Oh yeah,
But like,
of course she is.
it's like if that girl wouldn't have knocked on the door and just let him stay in the bathroom, she would have just came through the fucking glass in the window and probably killed him and saved everybody else.
No, probably not.
You don't think so?
No. They've only ever shown her coming through screens. Now, presumably, I would think she could come out of a mirror, but they've never shown that.
I mean, I would imagine. No, that was something different. So The Ring was done in 2002,
Okay.
and then The Ring 2 was done in 2005.
Yeah.
And then you go to
You can just skip all the way
Rings.
down to 2017.
So Rings is
It's probably not-
2017.
It's probably not going to come up because you typed in The Ring, and it's just called Rings. It's not The Rings.
Oh, well, okay. Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's not all the way down to 2017.
So usually the formula was if you put a movie out, you have to put another movie out in 3 years, or you lose the license for it or something like that. So it makes sense that The Ring and The Ring 2 came out so close. I'm wondering if it was a different company that did Rings, like if somebody else got the license.
If it was a different studio.
Yeah.
I don't think so, but I don't know.
So I'll look up The Ring again, and you look up Rings, and we can see.
No, I was like, I was on Blood Rain.
No, don't do that.
Does it have the company on IMDb to like?
I would think so. Maybe not.
Nice dead air where we look up stuff on our phone. I don't think it. It's probably the same company. I know it's a different director.
Hey, right now we're giving the experience of having dinner with like a loved one at a restaurant, just looking at the fucking phone, looking down at the phone, and just doing whatever. Yeah, I don't know if it gives it there. Anyways, that's something I'd be curious to look up after this. But I would think that if you bought it in a 3-pack,
Yeah, you can't sell it in a 3-pack if it's
different
if
places.
it's different companies.
So, but yeah, I thought the writing was fairly lazy.
Universal or Paramount.
Paramount, yeah. Do you have any of the other ones on there?
I've got all of them on here.
Well, just so that was Rings, that was Paramount.
Yeah, Rings is Paramount. It's in my movie.
You have The Proposal.
I do have the proposal.
The movie's bad.
I like that movie. It's one of my favorite romantic comedies, but I also don't like very many romantic comedies. I like Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock, and they're in a movie together. So I'm like, oh,
I'll be honest with you. I don't think I've ever seen it. I think
Really?
I think I've seen Amber like start watching it.
that's a hey.
See, that's DreamWorks.
Oh, okay, DreamWorks.
So it is different. So check the second one.
Is DreamWorks not Paramount?
I don't know. So yeah, and that's what I thought. So I'm wondering if The Ring 2 is also DreamWorks. Dun, dun. See, it's DreamWorks. So
okay.
DreamWorks, Paramount. So they lost the license. Somebody else picked it up, and then probably the movies have been not making so much money that DreamWorks and Paramount came to a fucking thing. It was like, let's sell it in a 3-pack and split the money halfsies.
Yeah, maybe.
So
Or maybe someone bought it back and bought the other license. Maybe when Paramount bought Rings, they bought the Ring license, and now they own the Ring and the Ring too. Who knows?
I'm also now wondering if like the writers of Final Destination wrote this movie. Because it's like,
It's got some weird stuff in it. Like the bird thing is kind of silly. But
Well,
whatever.
well, they recreated the whole thing, didn't they? Like the whole recording. It's like that girl had her own recording in her head, which translated to a recording that showed up on the fucking computer. So, which also brought up a question that I asked you that you wanted me to pose here. So if you've watched it and you've shown the video to somebody else, can you just watch the fucking video now?
I think so because in the Ring, Rachel watches it, shows it to makes a copy of it pretty early on and shows it to Noah. And then she continues on her investigation and watches bits of the tape again. I don't know if she ever sits down and watches the entire tape all over again. But every time she watches it again, like weird shit happens. Like you know, like she paused it and she's trying to like pull the thing and like the fly is moving and she like pulls the fly. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
she's still watching it in a way. So I wonder if once you've watched it, you're fine. You're like immune.
Samara's like,
Now you,
dick, they've watched it before.
now you good. Which I guess opens up the scenario. In the perfect world, that system kills one person. Because it's a chain. One person shows it to one person to one person. And then there's the one person at the very, very end who's like, everyone's seen it. Oh, no, oh, no. And then they die. And at the end of this movie, she's like, well, that's not very efficient. So I'm just going to email it to everybody. Hey, everyone, check out this movie.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
And then emails it to everyone on Julia's friends list or whatever. Like, man, Julie, this movie's crazy. It's like, then those people will start.
Yeah, that was neat. I'll be honest with you. I think the best part in this movie with me was when Johnny Galecki's character watched the tape, and then like he has a joint, and like the fly flies out of the joint. When that happened, I was like, man, this weed is fly, which is fucking stupid.
Yes.
And then it flies over and lands on the window. And I thought this part was neat.
Yeah.
And he walks over to the window and he's looking at the fly and he fucking slaps it. And the camera is on the outside of the window and the fly is somehow outside of the window and it flies away.
Yeah.
And like the only thing I think is him going like, whoa,
What is in there?
holy shit, this is good weed.
Well, then the water's running up the window too, which is cool.
And then the water, instead of going down because it's raining, it's like a typhoon outside, is going up the window. And like the only thing I could think was like,
Oh shit!
I'm going back to this dispensary. This shit is the fucking bam boom balamba. But yeah, that part was hilarious to me.
I think it's got neat scenes, and then the connecty bits are sometimes neat, sometimes not.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gonna be it's interesting. Like they go up, they find Samara's crook, they crack it open, and it's like, she will find you, Julie, and she's like, that's kind of freaky.
It's very specific.
But I also imagine it's probably only in her head. Like there was no writing in there whatsoever. She just sees it, and then she goes inside to get a little spook.
Well, they had.
Whatever.
I think you're absolutely right about that because she's like the bird, and no one saw the bird.
Yeah.
Then the birds that are flying outside that gave her like the vision or whatever.
Yeah. And,
No one saw that.
And like I saw a girl on the side of the road. No one else saw that.
No one saw that.
So I think she just went in like, oh, I see you writing, and then just so you can have your little spook, and that's okay. I kind of like when they were in the church, and she looks up at the bell, and you see like the bell from the underside. The very first time I saw it, I'm like, oh, a ring, because you're kind of ready to look for rings in this particular thing, and then it shows water dripping on a thing that looks like easily peel upable, and you're like, I wonder what's under there. I guess we'll find out later because they left.
So I was gonna make the joke when she looked up at the bell, and I was because it shows like a flood, and when she looked up at the bell, I was gonna make the joke. So let me guess, there's a flood. The bell falls on someone and traps them underneath it for 7 days.
7 days. Get this bell off me.
Yeah. And they're just sitting there beating the hammer against the fucking outside the bell to try and get someone's attention. They die, and that's the new ring. And then, like, you were like, oh, yeah, you look up and you see the ring. And I was like, holy shit, I was right. And then I wasn't right. But I was thinking of the silliest shit I could think of at that point.
So I thought that was neat. I do like the plane thing at the beginning. Not necessarily the people running around, but more of like, a guy's on a plane, every single TV comes on, like water starts eroding the instruments, and then she just crawls out of the instrument, the front panel of the pilot's being like, who's this bitch?
Excuse me, can I help you? FAA. What would have been really impressive to me was the fact that every TV came on with the well, and if she would have crawled out of every single one. So there was like 90 Samaras, like little tiny ashes from the Army of Darkness running around. Or that would have been hilarious. Not Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, it's an Army of Darkness. Like when he shatters the mirror or something like that, and they all hop out of the mirror.
Okay, I think they also did that.
They might have done it in other ones too, but I think the one it does happen in Army of Darkness.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's been so long since I watched that movie, but
I think I watched it last year.
But it was decent.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't horrible. I'm not upset that you made me watch it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you actually came over. I'm glad I couldn't find it, and I'm glad you came over and watched it.
So we could watch it together
because it made it much more
more fun.
More fun, yeah. But 5. That's literally the.
I think it's fine, and there's a lot of scenes in it that I think are neat. Therefore, I bump it up to a 6. So I like the plane thing. I like her crawling out of the TV. I like the cicadas on the phone, and her just being like, "Yeah, she can come out of a phone." It would have been neat if maybe she'd found some other way to come out, like or something. But being surrounded by the cicadas and her being rebirthed from it, looking towards the blind man and like curing his sight, like your sight's cured, and then burning his eyes out.
Yeah, she's literally weed. She cured his glaucoma in 3 seconds.
It's like, hey, you're cured and you're dead.
Yeah.
It's nice and petty. How petty is she? She will cure you so she could kill you. It's like, oh, you're sick? Okay, come on over here. Have some soup. Okay, you feeling better? You feeling better now? Now drown. Drown, you bastard.
Yeah. That was silly. But I mean...
I think it's funny.
Yeah.
Which it's probably not supposed to be funny.
The other thing
I enjoy it.
The other thing I don't appreciate that movies do is when they show you something to basically say, this is definitive. Like when D'Onofrio fell down the steps and like when he hits the bottom, he has like the eyes open. So it's like that usually signals
he's probably dead.
He signals he's dead. And then he comes back for that one last scare.
Yeah.
And it was just like, meh, okay.
Well, and then other things that this movie did that I didn't appreciate per se was it would show you something and then it's got to cut back to that. Like, remember that when that happened on the film? Like, yeah, I do remember. Yeah. And it's kind of like, hey, look, she's looking at the thing on her phone about the bell. Do you remember the bell? Well, let's show you the bell. Look, the bell's ring-shaped. Yeah. It's like, no, I got it. Thank you.
When she was walking through the room and all the bird cages were in there, and like every time they would pass a certain angle, it would do the flash. And it's like, I think movie makers have got to the point where they just think we're so fucking stupid that we have to constantly be reminded to stay on target when it comes to the narrative.
Yeah.
Or if somebody worked so hard on that beginning fucking montage of fucking Doom that they were just like, every step of that, I want you to show where I took that from. You know, like when this happens, I want you to show this when this happens. So they can be like, oh, the whole thing made sense.
You go back and watch it.
All the clues were there the whole time.
Which I guess one thing that was interesting that I kind of watching this time, like the snake eating its own tail. That's an Ouroboros.
Okay.
Which is a circular symbol depicting a snake, or less commonly a dragon, swallowing its own tail as a emblem of wholeness or infinity. And kind of like watching it this time, I'm like, it's an Ouroboros, and like an Ouroboros I thought meant like rebirth or something like that, but infinity. So
it just means this is going to be going on forever.
Yeah, she's not. So in that one little thing of the snake eating its tail, she's like, I'm going to keep doing this.
I'm eternal.
Yeah, but everyone else just being like, I have to save her. It's like, stop helping Samara. She's evil. She's not your friend.
Call the fucking Ghostbusters. I mean,
maybe the Ghostbusters would do it.
We need Ghostbusters crossover.
But we saw the Ghostbusters in Sadako versus Kayako, and they got
iced. Yeah, they got straight iced. But I mean, you put them together, they became the Oreos. They became the Reese's peanut butter cups of fucking poltergeists. Because it's like, didn't they join forces and fucking...
At the end, because like originally, no, I guess it was
Wait,
they were rushing to fight.
This is spoilers.
Spoiler. Here, go watch.
Yeah.
Go watch one of our previous ones about Sadako versus Kayako, which is better than this.
Yes.
Because it's silly.
Yes, we can't talk about that. It's a spoiler.
It's good. It's also a different ring.
Sorry.
But it's good. But
he did it this time.
But yes, we talked about it before. But like, go watch Kayako versus Sadako, or Sadako versus Kayako. I forget which
10 times better. Just as campy and cheesy, but
I think it's the point. It is kind of campy. It's two ghosts fighting each other.
But yeah,
and ghosts that aren't known for being fast and speedy either.
Yeah.
They kind of teleport to where they need to be.
One gargles and one likes to do the crazy. I put my feet in front of my fucking shoulders walk.
It's like whenever they show like Sadako going quick, it's more of like Sadako's over here and now she's just right here. It's like, she's quick. Just kind of teleports.
I think that's what Murder Walk. I think that's what Jason does.
He's just kind of walking behind you, and then you turn around and just skip.
Well, it's like you don't see the skip. In Jason, it's like he's walking, and you're like,
yeah. You look back. He's like way back there. You look forward, and while you're not looking, he skips.
Yeah, and he's just because he doesn't. Jason don't run.
No, he doesn't run.
And then like I think they even made more of a point of it of the game that you play. Where like if the monster dies or whatever, it's like you can kind of like move the camera around and like spawn in where you want. Or no, it's the Friday the 13th game.
Oh, okay.
You can get so close to the people, but you have to be kind of far away. So like if
you just spawn in a certain distance away from them.
You can be in certain areas and then find out that stuff is happening in different areas. So then you could do like murder walk view or whatever. So you could see in certain areas and you're like, okay, I want to spawn here.
Okay.
So
I've not played Friday the 13th.
I haven't either, but when I first saw the trailers for that game, I thought it looked fucking dope, and then I found out like nobody I knew was playing it.
Yeah, which I think is the real issue is it's not busy enough to be played.
Well, I bought Alien Fireteam for the PlayStation 5.
Not enough people play it.
Nobody's playing it, so it's just kind of like, meh. Anyways, we've been talking about this for some time.
Yeah, we can end on a question.
Oh, Nick,
Yes.
did you get that rash looked at?
No, it's still bugging me.
Really? I can take another look at it before I leave.
Oh, sure.
We're at my house. Why am I leaving? Hey, Nick.
Yes.
Have you seen Happy Death Day 2?
I've not yet anyway.
Okay. I figured this was one that I'd probably be able to get you to watch without prompting you on a video, but I really want you to watch it because I really want to talk to you about
Sure.
it.
And it's also fitting because we watched The Ring, and then I was like, Rings. And we watched Happy Death Day, so Happy Death Day 2.
Happy Death Day 2. And I've heard that there's a third one on the way, so I want us to be current.
I think even after we watched the first one, you're like, don't watch the next one. Maybe we'll watch it together someday.
Well, I'd like to try and do that because these movies are a lot of fun.
Together.
Together.
Which is just I think if we could watch everything together, that would be nice. But at this point in time, jobs and whatnot make it hard to set aside all that time to watch everything together.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times we watch it separate and then come together and kind of throw our points out there at each other.
There are a lot of times when we're doing these videos, and I'm sure you can go back and look through the past where like there's me going, and I thought this movie would... We'll be right back. And then I have to run and basically grab my kid because like my kid is sleeping right down that hallway.
Well, you'll also notice it when I go boop, 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 and pause it.
Yeah. And so that's the ones that you see the substantial hop or ones that we've had to edit because, you know. But anyways, yeah.
So in 1 month, first Monday, be ready for Happy Death Day 2.
And yeah, so watch it now.
Yeah. See if you can track it down. You've got a month to track it down.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not too difficult, even if you have to rent it.
Spread the word. Eventually we're going to do a Last of Us review. I thought we might be able to do like, have you played the game?
No.
It's on the... Shit, you don't have a PlayStation, do you?
No.
All right. I'm going to let you borrow my PlayStation.
You
4.
want to do it old versus new with a game? And
Old school new versus new school with the TV show. But I mean, you would literally not have to play the entire game because I've heard the show's only going to get so far in the first game. So it's like you would play like 5 hours, and then you could probably get to where the first season of the show is going to get to.
I think you overestimate how long it takes me to play stuff. Because I've been playing like Midnight Suns, and I think I'm like 10 hours in, and I've done like two or three story quests.
Well, you have to run around and talk to fucking everybody.
Oh yeah, and then you have to run around and find reagents and all that stuff.
And I think that's
yeah, it's a waste of time. But
I
then,
hate it.
But then doing all the other missions, that's fun. I've been doing a lot of missions because I want to get this person level and whatnot.
Thanks for watching our Midnight Suns review.
It's fine so far. I'm invested in finishing it at least, and we'll see if I stay invested in finishing it.
Stay tuned. All
And
right.
by the time this comes out, I might actually be done with it.
Hey, would you recommend someone watch Rings?
If you like The Ring, I think you'll be okay. If you watch The Ring and you're like, man, I'm not into Samara's whole thing, then you probably won't be into what she's doing here either.
Yeah.
What about you?
If it's on TV and you're just like, this looks like The Ring, yeah. If you have to buy it, I'm glad I didn't rent it. I'm glad you brought it over. That I will say that. Because if I would have spent money on this movie, I would have just been like, it's a 3. But yeah, I recommend someone watch it? Probably not. If it's on TV, I mean, it's worth a look. That's my opinion. If you catch it on TBS or some shit like that. So, I just cost us money again. Damn it.
So, at this point in time, I don't know that there's plans for a sequel. Would you like to see a sequel?
To this movie?
Yeah, to Rings. Would you like to see where this ring, like this section of Rings goes? Or are you like, they never did make another one?
I'm intrigued enough to find out how it works now.
Yeah.
Because it's less supernatural at this point. Because she's whole.
Yeah.
She's in a human body. So now...
And what does that mean?
Yeah, like, what's the limitations of that? So, purely curious, yes.
I think they could do stuff and make this a good movie. Now, with an 8% credit score, that's probably not going to happen, but we'll find out.
I think it was less on that. It was the 25 for the audiences.
Yeah.
So it's like, probably hardly anyone saw this movie, and of those,
It's-
3/4 of them hated it.
I didn't know it existed until I bought it in a 3-pack.
No, so you know,
Which is also could be a marketing team's fault. Who knows?
2017. There's really no excuse for that to have gone under the radar like it did. So
And depending on when it came out, there might be an excuse for me, but that's a different story.
yeah, it's for another time.
Yeah.
But yeah, watch it if you're daring,
Yeah, I think it's good enough.
and then in 6.5 days, show it to someone else.
But make a copy first.
Yes, make a copy, because that apparently is very important that you don't show them the same fucking thing you watched. You make a copy. Which, if I lived in that universe and I watched the tape, I'd be like, make a copy of the tape, burn the original, watch this tape, now make a copy and burn that one.
I wonder what happens if you like destroy the copy. That might have been in the ring. I don't remember.
Well, I mean, I think the whole reason to make the copy is
I
so
think-
more of them get out there.
Yeah, I think so. It's meant to be kind of that spider web, show more people. But if you make a copy and just kind of like put that in the chest and only have the original or the copy, and they put that in the same chest or whatever.
Samara's the Amway of fucking murderers.
I think she's more the pyramid scheme. At the top is Samara, and she wants you all to fall under her pyramid scheme.
That's Amway. It's a pyramid scheme.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyways,
All right.
we've taken enough of your time.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.